Hola Comadres, this is your host Marcy from Comadreando podcast. I am just dropping in to let you know that we were able to record this episode in person. The audio quality is going to be a little different. Also, we're recording in New York City. So there are going to be some noises in there that we were not able to edit out, but it does not remove from the content of the episode. And without further ado, Hola Comadres, welcome to another episode of Comadreando. I'm your host Marcy, and today we have an awesome guest, my friend Ami, and I'm going to let her introduce herself. Who are you?
Hi guys, I'm Amy Vega, born and raised New Yorker in Washington Heights, and I am what they call a celebrity manicurist. I've been doing nails both on set and with clients for the last 10 years, believe it or not. Yeah, it's been 10 years since I started. And I am known for my super detailed nail art, also my art outside of nails, but nails is basically my strong suit.
Yes. So I met Amy. Well, first of all, I was stalking her on social media. And then we found out that we have a friend in common.
Mm-hmm.
And through that friend, we started going to events together. And then we found out we're both artsy-fartsy people. And she's literally my go-to to every art event that I attend because we just really enjoy it together. And also we're like into Frida Kahlo and
just art in general.
Museums. Yeah, what is the other one? Jean-Michel Basquiat and all these other artists. So yeah, she's my go-to. And she's also a Bad Bunny lover, which I am as well.
Yeah.
So today's topic is dating stories. It's one we've covered on the show before. But I feel like since Ami is my day one, we always get into regaling each other with our different dating stories and like horror stories and stuff like that. I feel like I wanted to do an episode on that. I always love talking to Ami because she always gives me like neutral advice and will check me when I am bugging the freak out.
Yes, I will. It's the Libra in me. I have to see both sides of the situation and be as like, I guess, clear-headed and neutral and not favor you, because I feel like as a friend you should be that way.
I agree.
Like, I don't want to be friends with a chick who's not going to tell me that I look stupid in an outfit, or maybe my hair just isn't sitting right. Like, I want you to tell me. I want you to look out for me. So I'm going to do that for you, obviously.
Yeah, so we can talk to each other when we're having our moments and like coach each other through. Okay, so before we get into the episode, what is your current relationship status?
I am surprisingly involved. For the last 2 years, it's a weird situation because we always joke about how while the world is like burning and falling apart, here's our love story of how we got together during a whole Panini. But I've been with my boyfriend we just celebrated meeting 2 years ago in February. But I guess I feel like a teenager saying this, we became official in September of 2020.
So September after the Panini. Wow, wait, you guys got together right before we shut down the world.
Yeah, we literally were going on dates. And then he got COVID in like March. And I didn't see him for like a whole month because he got it really bad.
I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I was doing the monologues at the beginning of March, right?
I think that's the last event that I went to before everything went to crap.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Oh, man. So wait, how did you guys meet?
Dating app.
Dating app?
Yeah.
So you swiped right?
Yeah. He'll tell the story differently. I'm sure if he's hearing this right now, he's laughing because he's like, you looked, how is it that he says? You hit me up. And he has the messages saved. And I'm like, burn them.
He's like, I have all the receipts.
Yeah.
Shots, bro.
But yeah, we met on a dating app, which is the norm. And we were going on such cute dates and it was so fun. And then se jodió todo. Like, the pandemic happened, then he had COVID, so I didn't see him for like a month. But we were still communicating.
Mm-hmm.
And then he did the cutest thing, which I think began the kind of, I'm not going to say my interest. I was interested in him, but it kind of like solidified, like, oh, this dude is serious. So he's like, oh, my boy, he's selling Girl Scout cookies. So I'm like, hello. Yes, I want some tagalongs and some Samoas and some this. And he goes, and I tell him my order. And he's like, all right, I'm going to let him know. And then the next week, he's like, oh, my boy's going to bring it to you around 5. I'm like, okay, I'll come down and I'll get it. So I put my mask on. He's like, yeah, he's downstairs. And it's him. And I'm like, oh. But it was so weird because at the same time, it's like he's very nervous and cautious about the people that he cares for. So he's like scared to get me sick, even though he had already like been good. But it was the beginning. Nobody knew anything.
Yeah.
So we're like sitting in his car with masks and we're just like, hey. It was like awkward and cute. But the fact that he like surprised me and wanted to see me, I'm like, oh, pero mira este, like how cute. And I don't know, it just kind of, they say actions are better than words, and he showed me that, so I was like, okay.
Yeah, I totally believe that. I feel like stuff like that, it's like, he didn't have to do that, but he did it. And it's kind of like, it shows you so much interest on his part. I remember listening to the story when we were, because guys, when we get together, when Ami was still doing nails, when we get together to do when she does my nails, we're always like catching up and doing comadre time via nail art. So, like I remember hearing that story and I was like, oh my God, that's so freaking cute. Like, oh man. But, yeah. So wait, what was it like before you matched with Bay?
Like my dating life?
Like dating life before Bay.
Oh, it was...
Girl.
It was dating in New York, sis. They weren't lying if they didn't have a second family or a third family.
Oh my God.
So, all right. So my last serious relationship was with my child's father. We were together for 4 years. He's very much a narcissist and still is to this day because co-parenting has not been easy. And in those 10 plus years of because I left him when I was 8 months pregnant. I dated around and I like dated guys, but never anything serious. And
wait, but the baby, just to give context, she's 13, yeah?
She's gonna be 13 this year.
Okay.
I dated around, but I also had periods where I was just alone. Like, yo no quería joder. It's just here I am, a single mother. I also 2 years into motherhood left my 9 to 5 to pursue this nail thing, which is scary in the beginning because freelancing is scary. You know, it still is, but I didn't really know much of it, so I didn't have the mental capacity to think about, as lonely as I may have been, as bellaca as I may have been, like those needs kind of were put aside because I needed to focus on other things, on my child, on what I was going to do with my career. So I had periods. It was like a year or two that yo no quería saber de hombre. Like, don't look at me, don't talk to me. And then I would go on apps and like spend maybe like a week giving it a try, and I would get turned off really quickly because although there are guys there who are genuine, there's a lot of creeps.
Yes.
And I'm sure you've heard this from your friends if you experienced it. There's a lot of creeps, and I get ick really fast. So I'd be like, oh, delete.
I know.
Delete. Okay, cancel subscription. I don't want to bother. But in that time span, I've dated, I've had casual relationships, to put it properly. And then I've dated guys for, months, maybe even up to a year, but nothing really solidified. Like, my boyfriend now has met my child, which no man has done before. So that's like a big thing. And she loves him, and he loves her. So I did good in that aspect. But it was just like on and off thing, like meeting guys, kind of seeing. I've met guys that kind of terrify me, and also having a child plays a different factor into it because sometimes people think single mothers are like desperate to find a daddy, and it's like my kid has a daddy. He might not be the best, pero tiene su papá. And that wasn't how I was looking at it. I was looking for a partner. Like, my boyfriend didn't meet KJ for I think like a year. Like, I don't mess around with my kid and like just bringing people over to meet her. So it took a while, and I wouldn't say she was not receptive to me. She's cautious. She's a Capricorn. They're very calculated and very kind of like, who the hell are you?
Like, what do you want?
Yeah, but now she loves him. But dating before him was kind of a shit show. The last guy I dated, everything seemed to be going good. And I think almost like a year in, then suddenly he ghosted me. Completely ghosted me. And that's when I kind of like took a break for like a year. And then when I got back on, that's when I met my man now.
This is the thing. I want to touch on two things, right? Like, I respect the fact that you don't bring strange men around your child all the time. Like, I know I was on El Salon the other day, and we had an episode Plátano and Collard Greens, and the guys were talking about, you shouldn't wait so long for a man to meet your child. But I'm also like, my child is my treasure. Like, I'm not gonna have every dude that I'm dating, especially if I don't even know if it's gonna be serious, coming around my kid. One, Aiden's he's very innocent in the sense that he doesn't know si la gente tiene malicia. I mean, he knows that if you have bad energy, he's not gonna mess with you, which you know how he is. Yeah. But in the long run, like, I'm just like, I'm not looking for a father for my kid. He has a dad. I don't need you to be in any parental role at all. Like, eventually, if we're together, if you wanna do some things, you can, but whether I'm requiring it of the person that I'm dating, that's not what we're looking for, right? I definitely agree with you that you're looking for partnership. And then that whole ghosting thing, like, people are so freaking weird. Like, dude, like, why do that? I feel like that's one of the things I'm still working on, you know? That's one of the triggers, like abandonment issues. And the fact that somebody does that, it just like kind of sends you spiraling in a way, especially when it's somebody that supposedly quote unquote cares about you. Like, how is it that you're not communicating how you're feeling in that moment? Like, let's say you feel like you're going to hurt that person's feelings, but I feel like it's more important to just be clear and tell that person how you feel instead of them thinking it's something wrong with them.
I think, honestly, the way I look at it, I feel like technology has a big play into that, where it gives us accessibility and it gives us an anonymous platform to kind of negate responsibility. Because now it's like I say with kids and bullying. Bullying is done mostly online for kids now.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm going to meet you at 3 o'clock after school. I'm going to beat your ass. No, now it's like, oh my God, I'm going to put this tweet. I'm going to make this like Snapchat about fulana.
That's why it's more dangerous.
And so I feel like even with adults, it's not, oh, I'm going to give you a phone call or I'm going to meet you in person and tell you, hey, this is not working out. It's so easy to just block that person on every platform and forget about it. You're void of any responsibility because you don't physically have that person in front of you. So it's so easy to people be like, block, don't respond. Because they don't have access to you physically. It takes more courage to say something to somebody's face than it does to do it over the phone. Or not say it, you know? So I think that adds to it, but I don't know. It's a strange time for relationships, for dating, especially in a city like New York. Especially, you know, now through a pandemic. It's a weird time. People, emotionally, I feel like we're kind of all over the place.
Yes.
And we don't know how to express that, how to function with those feelings, those emotions, and how to get them out. Like I always say, everybody needs therapy nowadays, including myself.
No, but wait, what was that meme that we saw the other day? Accountability? That's a big word for Elmo. Nobody wants to think of accountability.
Not for anything.
Oh my God.
But again, it's technology. I feel like people hide behind their phones. They hide behind their computers in a lot of aspects. Not just like dating, but also you think about online representation, social media, and influencers. You curate who you are. So you can create this wall of I'm fulana here, and then in real life you're this. So I don't know, it just creates this gap of accountability and responsibility when it comes to interacting with other humans. That's kind of made something like dating that's pretty intimate and weird. Like even for our first date, which we joke about because he showed up dressed so nice and I look like a drug dealer. But our first date was in a coffee shop because I feel like when you meet online, especially, eso que di que hay fancy dinners and stuff, that's a very intimate thing. You're sitting with a person for hours. You're having this meal. You know, you're all dressed up. It's like, I want to get to know you. And grabbing a coffee and going is much easier than saying, oh, can we get the check, please? And can you pack this to go? So my favorite thing is like, let's meet in a coffee shop and let's just chit chat and talk. And see that like personal physical connection in person, because online, again, you could be totally like have this personality that's not you because you're not being held accountable for your words. You can put whatever you want, but it's gonna show in who you are. Like, I'm a pretty awkward person.
Yeah.
I'm introverted. Media rarita. So it's like you're not gonna get that through me typing or even me on the phone.
Yeah.
But when there's eye contact involved, there's mannerisms and everything. It's different, and that's just kind of what the world has come to. We have two personalities, two lives.
Yeah.
Online and in person.
I was gonna say that. I remember you told me about that coffee date at the beginning. I was like, you got dressed to go have coffee with somebody, but like, it's you don't drink, so it's like, what are you gonna do? Go for drinks? You don't really drink, so it's like.
Although we did have a really cute date before the world went to poop. We went to the Museum of Sex for that. You went to it, the thing they have now. And then afterwards...
What is it called? Carnival?
Yeah, something like that. And then afterwards, we found this cute speakeasy in a church. Mm-hmm. The most beautiful.
Oh, tell me about that, yeah.
Oh, it's so gorgeous. I want to go back. I tell him all the time, I want to go back. And like, también, yo lo veo así, but I had a drink. And it was just nice. It was, we were in this little table on the side. It was super intimate. The place is beautiful. Like, even the confession rooms are like rooms that you can, reserve to like have your drinks in there. It was gorgeous. So it's like a drink once in a while. But for the first date, like, yo no quiero estar borracha. I don't want to be in a movie theater yelling or trying to like watch the movie and talk to you. So coffee seems like the thing to do. Yeah. But it's like he shows up and he was so handsome and I'm literally in sweats, kicks, hoodie.
You're like, I literally came for
I put my lipstick though. I have my signature red.
Your signature red lip.
But I don't know. I was just comfortable. And I had told him how the last...
Wait, what was he wearing on the first date?
He had like jeans and like a sweater. Like, he was nice.
But it was like a nice sweater.
Yeah, like he looked nice.
Aww.
Compared to like me. Not that I look. Tampoco no era que yo estaba look.
Sis, she's talking crap, guys. But like, she's
not
like
the sweats.
She's right next to me in like a sweatshirt and like sweatpants and shit, and she looks.
That's my uniform.
Like, bye.
That's what I'm in 90% of the time in the winter time. It was February. But whatchamacallit? Yeah, it was just, I just wanted to like see him in person and be like, let's actually talk. And he told me that he felt like I was guarded, but it's like, yeah, I just met you. Like, my mom said, don't talk to strangers.
But I feel like it's a Libra thing. Like, you're kind of guarded at
we have to weigh out, our scales. We're like, okay, is it going to go left? Is it going to go right? Like,
no, but that's how you guys are. Like, I remember at first when we first met, like, you were just kind of like,
yo soy media seca.
And it wasn't even like dry. But that's normal. Because, like, I get scared when people are like too, like, sabroso, or when they just met you and you're just like,
yeah, that's a turn off.
You're like, I don't know if I even like you. Like, why are you?
The people who are like, oh my god, bestie, sis.
I'm like, don't touch me.
It's like, I don't know you. I'm very reserved in that sense when I meet anybody. And I don't want to say I have resting bitch face, but I do.
We both do.
I like to blame it on my Bell's palsy. Be like, nah, bitch, half my face don't work. That's why I don't smile. So, that's why. It's not because I don't like you. I don't like you, but yeah. So but it's been fun. At least the last 2 years.
That's good. All right. So after your child's dad, what kind of work did you do to get ready to be in the relationship? I mean, it's good that you gave yourself time because, like, I feel like a lot of people are so quick. Like, they get in that fear mode that we were talking about earlier and they're like, oh my God, I'm going to be alone for the rest of my life. And they just, like, jump into relationships without fully healing or, like, looking at what they didn't like or what they did like and kind of really analyzing it and sitting with it for a little while and figuring out what it is they want to do, or how they want to help themselves be better. So what was it? What was kind of the things that you did to like help yourself?
I mean, therapy is part of it. It wasn't a big part because I didn't really take the time to talk to my therapist about relationships necessarily. It was like other things. But I will say that age, like, a bitch is gonna be 40 this year. And with that comes a lot of life experience and hopefully lessons because, yes, you can be 60 and not learn anything in life. Yeah. But taking the time to just self-reflect because something that we lack, and I say we as in everybody, is self-reflection. Because I am far from perfect. I have my goods, I have my bad. And I think acknowledging that and making an effort, like my man can tell you, our relationship has been good. Like any relationship, we've had issues here and there. Nothing that I would say is like astronomical. This is the healthiest relationship I've been in, but it's really the thing for me is making a conscious effort, taking from every experience I've had with men and taking the good and the bad and learning from. So when I do get to a point that I meet somebody that I'm comfortable with.
Sorry, guys. You know we're recording in New York City, so
it would be New York City without the background.
Something's always going down.
Taking the time to acknowledge those things and learn from them has really helped. And I tell him all the time, I'm like, I'm learning even through the process of dating him. But the things that I've taken from past experience has helped me because I'll be honest, I'm the type of person that I'm very guarded with my heart because of what I've been through. Like, it was traumatic. And so I'm quick to run. I'm quick to be like, no me gusta esto, he's going to hurt me. I'd rather be alone. Because that's what I've been used to for a decade.
That's us. We always got the running shoes in the back.
Yeah. And so, like, now with him, I make the effort to be like, no, things have to be communicated. Things have to be resolved. So if I'm feeling a type of way, I express it to him, always with respect. Because yo no soy una de que está voceando, to be yelling, to be pointing fingers, and getting loud and rah, rah, rah. No, we're two grown adults. In our big age, we should not be doing any of that. So, communicating how I feel. I definitely have an anxious attachment style. He's avoidant, so he's a bit more reserved. He sits in his thoughts for a while before he talks, and I'm like, I want to talk about it.
Like, right now.
I'm a Libra. I need balance. Like, I need my scales to be even. But communication. And so all these years before having met him, just learning from all my experiences and also my self-awareness. I think that's the biggest thing. Being like, pendeja, look, you do this. You shouldn't do this all the time. You should kind of face certain demons and kind of, get through certain things that have made past attempts at relationships fail, So I guess the biggest takeaway is just kind of like self-awareness and being clear of who I am, the good and the bad, especially the bad, so that when I go into this relationship, I don't sabotage anything, which I've done before. Self-sabotage is a big thing. So a lot of that.
I feel like it's so easy to like point a finger and blame somebody else every time, and instead of like taking accountability and really like sitting with yourself and being like, what was it I could have done differently?
Yeah.
And it sucks because you're like, God, man. It's like I've had moments that I sit with myself and I'm like, yeah, that was not the best choice. Without even you telling me or anybody else telling me. I'm just like, reflecting back to the situations and I'm like, yeah.
It's easier to be the victim than the villain.
Yes.
So a lot of times we'll be like, I know because he looked at me sideways wrong. Or he held his phone in his hand for too long, so that's why. No, it's like, was that really? And it's helped great because, now we're at a point. The other night we went out to see Spider-Man finally.
Yeah. And
afterwards we went to get a bite and we were just kind of like talking the whole way home. And when we got home. And it was nice because we were just like talking, shooting the shit, but also talking about things in our relationship and just being really honest and vulnerable with each other. And I'm like, holy crap, Amy, like look at you.
Being vulnerable
and actually communicating with your partner and stuff. And
yeah.
So it's great, but it's been a long road to get here.
And then opening yourself up to let yourself be vulnerable, because that's the thing. Like me and you are famous for like building that freaking brick wall that you have to scale with like, what is it, the cleats? Because mountain climbing shoes.
People don't understand the trauma that comes with, that word trauma is so popular now.
Yeah.
With generations changing in how they express themselves and how they want to be valued and the boundaries that they set, trauma is a big word. And we talk about generational trauma, but people don't realize how much trauma comes from a relationship, especially one that doesn't end in a good way, and also has a lot of negative aspects, whether it's domestic abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, whatever it may be. That sits with you, and it plays a part in how you follow up afterwards, because it's like, here I am with this man who cares about me, but those little thoughts of like, being with a narcissist, like, oh, is he doing this? Or he said that. Is he being sarcastic? And having to check that, like, no, he's him. He's not that person from the past.
Dude.
So dealing with that trauma and kind of working through it is really important, because that stuff, my daughter was going to be 13. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
And still elements of that kind of still sit.
Yeah, so I was with a narcissist before, and just like your child's son, your child's dad, he hasn't changed, and he doesn't recognize the fact that he's the problem.
Because they're not going to, as a narcissist, they're not.
It's so easy. I was dealing with a narcissist the other day, which I talked to you about, not in a relationship, but in another aspect, but it's so easy for them when they feel like they're being outed to like create a smear campaign, right? Against whoever is like, because narcissists present this beautiful like facade, and it's a mask and hiding the ugly from inside. So once they feel like that mask is being taken away, that they resort to attacking, right?
Yeah, they panic, and it's like, if I'm gonna go down, you're gonna go down with me.
Which is nuts. I'm just like, but unlearning that kind of behavior, like the one we had to adapt to be able to defend ourselves against that, it has been a lot of work. And the fact that, another thing that I had to learn was like learning to accept the apology I never got. Right? Because
that you're still waiting for.
I'm not waiting for it anymore. I know he's never going to apologize, and I'm okay with that. And if he does one day, cool. And I don't know if he listens to the show or not. Peace be with him. But being okay with the apology that I'm most likely never going to get. Yeah. I'm being okay with that. Because at the end of the day, like, you're doing the work to heal yourself and to be better yourself and be, your highest self and be a better human being in general for your daughter and for the relationship you're in right now and for yourself. So it's like, dealing with people like that is just kind of like, and then unlearning the trauma, that's another thing. Like, it's so much work. It's tiring. It's really tiring.
Exhausting. Yeah. It's I don't have it. It's not perfect yet, but I've worked and grown a lot. And I'm in a good space in my relationship, but it's a constant effort of kind of checking myself. And being like, is this something that you honestly should be upset or concerned about? Or is this like your past trauma kind of messing with you? So just always making a conscious effort to, like, when you're in a relationship, you have to want to be in a relationship if you want to make it work. You can't just like be in it and be like, whatever. Days pass by. No, there's a whole nother human being that you have to consider, and they have to consider you. So you have to consciously make an effort. So it's work.
Yeah. What was it? The barber episode. I don't know if you got to listen to it yet. He wrote a book about relationships, and he said that it's a relationship, right? You have to build. Right? So there's like so many pieces that go into it. It's not just like existing together. It's like you have to put a conscious effort into the things that you do and how you respond and who that person is and meeting them where they're at. Because the thing is, like, you can't fall in love with, like, the people that do, but you can't really fall in love with potential or who you think this person's gonna be. You have to meet them where they're at. And I tell this to people all the time, especially young girls. I'm just like, you can't go into it thinking that this is going to be your project and that you're going to fix this person to be who you want them to be.
Somebody has said a long time ago, people show you who they are for free. They literally do. So it's like that idea of like, oh no, but maybe if I help him this and that. No, they're going to show you, like I saw that early on with my man, like just the things he has done for me I'm like, first of all, nobody's ever done this for me. And just the consideration and the thought that he puts into even the smallest things.
Yeah.
You know, that matter to me. The level of respect. Like one thing, you know, I'm gonna be very open right now and say that I had things happen. I had something happen to me in my childhood that has affected my trust with like bringing a man into my household, especially having a daughter. So I've been very cautious about that. I remember one time I was on a dating app and this dude was like, you know, because I'm open about it. It's like, look, I have a kid. I'm not gonna lie about it. He's like, oh yeah, maybe we can go to the park and you can bring your kid. And I was like, I haven't even met you. Slow. Automatically red flag.
I said this on.
Why do you want to meet my kid?
I said this before.
I don't know if it's buttering me up, like, oh, the single mom. I gotta show it. No. Tú me estás conociendo a mí. You're getting to know me. You don't need to know my kid. So like, one time we had gone, actually with Nina, we went to this like pumpkin thing. I think it happened either early 2021 or late 2020, and we took a photo. And my daughter's standing next to him, and we're all kind of like, you know, coming into the photo, and he put his arms behind like his back, you know, like touch her. Like he was so respectful of her space, her autonomy, not trying to be over friendly and huggy and stuff. And I was just like, wow, you know, like
this is what it's like.
This is amazing. Yeah. So, you know, seeing just I pay attention to, you know, I'm an artist. I pay attention to the details, you know. So little things like that kind of made me fall more and more in love with him, because it's like, not only do you have to respect.
You're telling me the picture, and you're saying what picture it is, and I'm like picturing it, and I remember that his hands were behind his back.
Yeah.
Not that I found it odd or anything. It's just kind of like, it was just like the pose. It just stuck out in my brain right now.
And even like something like one time he got to the house when my mom was visiting, and she went up to him. She gave him a hug, which I think was the first hug she's ever given him. But you know, seeing her so comfortable with him, I was just like, oh, like.
Yeah, and your mom is not somebody that.
No, not my mom.
Like,
my mom loves him. It was KJ.
Oh.
KJ hugged him. I don't think they had ever hugged. You know.
Oh.
Because he's just so like respectful, and he understands what that means to me. Because I tell my kid all the time, you know, I turn into Mama Bear if I need to. Like. I go crazy.
I will rip somebody's throat out.
Yeah, so like little things like that, just paying attention to the effort that is put into things that people overlook, you know? Because I remember one time on a dating app, this guy was like, oh, are you going to have time for me? Because, you know, I know you're a single mother, but like, are you going to have to be like, oh, I got to cancel because I got to go get my kid? And I'm like, excuse me?
Pump your brakes, sir.
You know, I birthed this human. I made this human in my belly for 9 months, and I'm supposed to be like, fuck you, kid. I'm gonna go on a date with Fulano.
Because fuck them kids.
I was like, what?
Yo.
You know, and it's like, with my man, it's been the opposite. He's actually praised me for the balance that I've created, because I'm gonna be honest, like, yes, I am a mother first and foremost. But, and I even tell my mother this, you still have to pour into yourself, because women, especially, as mothers, we lose our identity the second we pop a kid out. No, it's just your child. No, I'm still living, bro. I still got a couple of years.
And you have needs, man.
Yeah, so it's like, I want the date nights, but then I also want, like, Friday we're going to go see that movie with the little girl that turns into a panda, red panda. It's a movie. She told me she wants to see it. I'm like, okay, bet, let's go.
Is it like a Disney movie?
It's like a Disney Pixar movie, yeah.
Okay.
So it's like having those moments with her, but also I'm allowed to pour into myself and go out with my man. And, you know, I went on vacation with him last summer. We went to Puerto Rico for 5 days. It was fun, like for his birthday. Having that balance of like, yes, I'm still going to be a present mother, but I'm also going to be a present girlfriend, partner, and do things, you know, with my man. It's not just about, that's it, I'm a mother.
Yeah.
I can't do anything else. Which I think culturally for us as Latinas, as Dominican, there's this idea that, yeah, you're the mother, you're here for your kids.
The dinner good.
I will die for my kids, you know? And it's like, no. I still got a couple of decades left on this earth. Yo te aburría, nomás atendiendo mi muchacho. No, there has to be a balance of, you know, pouring into yourself. And I literally told my mom, because my mom's like, mis hijos son todo, que tío el otro. I'm like, yeah, my kid is everything, but also I love me.
Yes.
And I'm allowed to do that. That doesn't take away from the love that I have for my child.
Of course.
So even with single motherhood, it's like, if they're not looking at you like, cuando tú te vas a casar de nuevo, it'll be like, oh, tú estás saliendo con otro.
Exactly.
Anda el diablo. So how am I supposed to find a man?
O te peinote ese rolo. I can't.
Amazon and order one? Like,
mail order man.
You know, like,
I want a 6 foot tall, chocolatey skin.
It's weird. It's a weird position to be in, and I'm sure any mother listening to this can understand. And even fathers, but I feel like more for women, we're the ones that take the toll.
We take the burden. I mean, there are dads that I have that are audience members that are 24/7 dads, and the mom, which is rare. Mm-hmm. The mom is like the weekend mom, but for the most part, I'm not discounting their experiences. Yeah. But for the most part, it's co-parenting, but the child is living almost 100%.
But not even co-parenting.
80%, 75% of the time.
In marriages, in relationships, the mother tends to, in the norm, I want to say, the majority is the mother who kind of loses her sense of self.
And identity.
And it's like, all of a sudden now you're just a mom. Mm-hmm. You're just this caretaker. And it's like, no, but like, I want to go out and do this. I had gone to a holiday party for the agency that represents me, right? Mm-hmm. And somebody there had just had a baby. And she turned up. Homegirl was drinking. And at the end of the night, she's like, I'm not a good mom. I'm drunk. And I'm God. Listen, you are allowed. Your child is at home with your husband. He is safe. He's with daddy. He's good. He's 10 months. ¿Qué sabe? You know? I'm like, you're allowed to do this. You're allowed to go out and have a good time. And it's that feeling, that mom guilt that we're made to feel, because as mothers, we're not supposed to have any other identity other than mother. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, I'm an artist. Like, just we were talking about earlier about how we like shows. There's a big Basquiat show happening in April. We got tickets already for me and my man to go see it. Mm-hmm. You best believe I'm going to get the sitter. We're going to be out. We're going to have a cute lunch. Like, you know, this idea that we've been sold, okay, once you have a kid.
Madre abnegada, Santa Amy de Washington Heights.
No. I'm going to go and do what I want to do. I'm going to have...
But we talked about this. I talked with Griselda from Brujas of Brooklyn. We talked about, the episode is Sensual Motherhood, but we talked about that, like, there's no way that you can... Oh my gosh, she gave this analogy of when the air mask comes down in the airplane, you have to put your air mask on first. Mm-hmm. There's no way that you're going to save your baby if you're not functioning because you're not getting oxygen. So it's the same thing with motherhood. Like, we need to pour into ourselves first before we are able to be good mothers. I cannot be a good mom if I feel depleted, if I feel tired, if I'm at my lowest. I cannot.
Yeah.
It doesn't function that way.
One time I was having a conversation with just a random stranger, this older black man, and we got into talking about kids, and he's like, yeah, I have a 9-year-old and a 17-year-old. And I was like, oh, how is it raising the 17-year-old? He goes, I don't know, I've never raised one before. And I was like, holy crap. And it just made me reflect on the idea that we are adults, yes, and we are parents, but there's growth in parenting. Mm-hmm. And every year that your child gets older, there's new challenges. Yep. And you're kind of learning as you go. You don't have everything figured out because you're also growing. I'm going to be 40. Like, that's a whole new chapter that I've never been a part of. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm about to have a 13-year-old. I definitely have a teenager now. She's acting like it. But I've never had a 13-year-old. And just kind of giving yourself the space and the
grace.
The grace to just kind of not have it all figured out.
And that's okay.
But it's like society pushes this thing of like, yeah, you're a mother. You got to have the breakfast done. And you got to have this. And if you don't do it, you're a terrible mom. And it's like, no, fuck that.
I mean, I've worked a lot on the guilt part. Like I already told you that Aiden has like the food aversions and stuff like that. So, I make him his lunches and he has little thermos that he goes to school like a little construction worker with a whole rice, beans, and chicken in his little thermos. But there's days that I can't cook and I just buy food or send him to school with nothing. And I have to fight myself because I feel guilty. Like, oh my God, what is my child going to eat? He's going to start. Mind you, he figures it out. Like, he finds something that he could eat at the school. But it's like fighting that guilt, and then I know that he doesn't think I'm a bad mom because I didn't send him lunch that day. You know what I'm saying?
It's your inner voices like making it worse than what it is.
Yeah.
That mom guilt is real.
Yeah, it's something that we have to work on, and I feel like through the show, I wanna make it okay for moms to just be women. We're not here just to be a mom. Like you said, I love the fact that you said that you are an artist. That's one of your identities.
I saw a TikTok that really kind of resonated with me. Not because I've been raising my child by myself all this time, but for married couples and people who are partnered with kids, this woman said something, and I was like, "Holy crap!" She goes, "The fact that my husband doesn't have to ask for permission to go out, like doesn't have to ask to have the kids watched. He can go out to play a basketball game. He can go take the car to the car wash, and she has to be like, honey, can you watch the kids?" And I was like, holy crap, that's so true. By default, it's like, those are yours. You know, like the idea of dad saying, oh, I'm babysitting the kids.
Babysitting? That's your whole child.
You're home with your kids. So, you know, it's crazy. Motherhood is a wild ride, and being a mother and then dating is a whole nother experience. With its good things, with its, bad things, but an experience nonetheless.
Wait, I wanna share with you. I think you remember. There was a guy from around the way that I was talking to. He used to work at the sneaker store. Mm-hmm. That I was talking to. Remember when I was doing my masters, and he was dating me. We went on a couple of dates, and one day he's like, "Oh, can I come over?" And I was like, "I don't know. My son's here." And whatever, he ended up coming over because he knew him because I used to go to the sneaker store to buy him shoes, whatever. So he comes over, and Aiden viene de sabroso to sit with me. So Aiden's sitting next to me, and then he puts his feet on this dude's legs, inocentemente. But then instead of taking the feet off gently, he starts rubbing his feet. That thing gave me such a ache. I was like, Aiden, go to your room. Right, so I kicked Aiden out, and then that was like a guy I actually ghosted, and to this day, legit, guys, I'm not the best person, but legit to this day,
we all make mistakes.
But to this day, I'll see him in the street, and I'll turn the corner and go the other way.
Yeah, that was weird.
Right?
That would have. How old was
Aiden? Was 5.
Yeah, no, don't touch my kid.
I was like, what?
Why? I'm also big on my child having autonomy. In our culture, babe, dale un beso a tu tío. Come sit on your tío's lap. Give your tía a hug. I don't do any of that with my daughter. I'll be like, you say whatever. None of that. I could go sit on nobody's. I have this one godfather who's one of those that likes to pinch and this and the third, and he'll call randomly and be like, "Y la niña? I want to see her. I'm your goddaughter. You want to see me? Why are you? Why are you so pressed about my kid? Oh, I want to go squeeze her cheeks. No.
Don't be touching my child.
Don't touch my kid with your grubby hands. Because growing up, we didn't have a lot of autonomy about what we do with how we look or anything. My kid has certain things aesthetically that she's very particular about. Like in 2020, I cut her hair. You remember her hair was down to her back. She's like, I want short hair. And I cut it to the shoulders. And of course, I got the comments of like, ay, pero su pelo. I'm like, it's hair. It grows back. We cut it again. Now it's growing back again.
She has my hair right now, but shorter. Right?
Yeah. And now she's wearing it straight. Mm-hmm. She's wore it curly. I'm like, you want to blow out your hair? Let's blow it out. You want to color your hair? Let's color it. Mm-hmm. It's, there's so much stigma that was put on us about how we looked and being a good person. I'm like, but half of y'all be in the church and be all serious, but I know the family secrets. I know the dark stuff.
Molesting children.
Literally. But you're worried about my kid having a mullet or dressing a certain way.
The fact that, and I know we come from similar backgrounds, because not all Dominicans are the same, obviously, but did you ever have a man coming to your house and oh no, cambiate esos chores because viene fulano de tal para la casa? Mm-hmm. Why?
Yeah. It's a very common thing in the Latino community and the POC community, from what I've seen online and heard from other people. that idea that you have to like basically follow all these rules and these things for the sake of other people, not for your own. You can't be comfortable because fulano this and that. And my mother's learned throughout the years that I don't play that with my kids. Like, no, don't tell her this, don't tell her that. Like, if she wants to express herself, my kid's pretty alternative. Like, it changes every day because she's a teenager. One day she's like kawaii, the next day she's like golf. And okay, whatever.
I feel like we need to make a new category for KJ. Just be like kawaii golf. Like
no, now her aesthetic is kind of like baggy cargo short skater dude type.
Yeah, I saw that.
I'm like, okay, whatever.
But she looks good in everything, which is weird.
But at the end of the day, it's her. And something that I've, in the last couple of conversations I've had with friends about kids, and this idea that you have to have kids. Like, I had an aunt telling me, oh, but you need to have another one. I'm like, why? Because it's good. I'm like, it's good because cuando tú te vieja, when you're old, I'm like, kids are not an investment that you need to be waiting for a return. They are human beings. That idea of
I'm gonna say a lot for the people in the back, man.
I'm gonna have kids, so when I'm older, they take care of me. One, you're not guaranteed. You could have 10 kids, and the 10 kids can do whatever they want.
Yes.
So it's like that idea of I have to have a kid because I'm gonna turn old. No, I'm not having my kid for her to take care of me. Do you want your kids to be in your life? Yes. That's, that you just don't know how the future is going to be. You're going to have the relationship you're going to have with your kid because at the end of the day, they're a free-thinking human being with their own character traits and ideas. And you guys, something I'm learning now the last couple of years of raising a child is that once your kids get to like middle school age and they start to solidify who they are, sometimes you don't mix.
Yep.
It's a whole new different generation, and I've already done the process of kind of mourning the little kid that used to be like obsessed with me, and now I'm like, I have this like super woke kid who is very strong in her opinions, who calls out her white friends who are using Ebonics or African American
AAV.
Yeah, she'd be like, yeah, that's racist. You can't say that. And she's very, she's very strong in who she is, and I'm like, holy crap. And she'll do things. I'm like,
Mom, you did a great job. Duh.
I'm going to talk about a little taboo topic here. Not liking your kids sometimes.
Yeah.
Which we're not allowed because we're supposed to love their lives.
No.
But sometimes I'm like, you get on my nerves, get away. But I also have to sit with the fact that here is this person, this human being who is free to think as she pleases because she is who she is.
Yeah.
And I have to realize that. Do we have to get along? Yes. Am I going to agree with everything my kid's going to do in their life? No. But that's okay. As long as she's not like a criminal, murdering anybody, listen, you're safe and you're a good person. That's all that matters. Am I going to, do I like her taste of music? No. She put a song and it was in Russian. This was like a couple of months ago. It was like an alt-rock.
She's getting ready.
And I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, I really like them. They're political. And I'm like, but it's Russian. She's like, on YouTube, they have the subtitles. I'm like, what is going on? I'm here listening to Bad Bunny and my kid's over here listening to some Russian couple rock out. But that's okay, That's who she is.
Yeah.
She is a creative. She's quirky. She's weird. She's very strong. She's very much a Capricorn. We were talking about that. She's like, when I get money, I'm going to save some and I'm going to invest the rest. I was like, you're such a
Capricorn.
Oh my God. She was like, Mom. So I told her about a big job that I have.
Yeah.
Right? And if it pulls through, it's like a lot of cash. She's like, are you going to invest some of that money, Mom? What are we doing? Do you want me to make a list of how you should spend the money to save? Are we going to invest in NFTs? All right. NFT. What?
So that's another topic for another thing. But NFTs, I'm still trying to understand what is the concept of
but
that.
Just seeing her unfold into this human, both the good and the bad.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm like, get out my room. Tú me estás jodiendo. But it's just acknowledging and giving her the space to be her.
Yeah.
It's a trip. It's a journey. But it should be allowed,
Yeah. It shouldn't be that you're just dictating who your child is going to be.
Yeah.
So I was having a thought the other day, and we talk about this a lot because I am artistic. I was just thinking, kind of like that shoulda, coulda, woulda thing. Had I been allowed to be artistic, like this that I'm birthing now, not saying that I would have had a podcast beforehand, but it could have been, I would have gone into a completely different major. Because like I went into business because I wanted to make money, right? Epic fail because I cannot march to the beat of anybody's drum. I legit detest being micromanaged. Like, don't fucking come over here checking what I'm doing, if I'm selling or not, whatever, fuck that, right? So then I went to education, which is kind of corporate, but not really, because I have a little bit more autonomy in the sense of like the way that I teach and like the things that I do. But like, I was just like, if I had just been allowed to explore without a pressure, artistically, like who would I be? And of course, guys, you know, New York City, Washington Heights is crazy over here. But yeah, like it's nuts. Like, I love the fact that you're raising KJ like that, and that you're letting her be her own person and explore who she is, and not like judging and being like, no, porque tú tienes que hacer esta cosa así. Wow, we talked about a lot.
Yeah.
So, advice that I gathered is like, kind of be conscious of who you are, right? And take accountability, and put in the work when you're in a relationship, because it's not just gonna happen automatically. You told us one of your horror dating stories. Guys, I'm looking through my questions. Tell us about your art. Like, what is the goal of your art? Because right now it's like, it's kind of niche, like, you know, nail art, but like, I love the fact that you have most of your pieces have a message. Or like let's say, like, for example, when I used to go do my nails with you, I used to be like, well, today I want to do this. What do you think about that? And I loved being able to just kind of like give you an idea and for you to run with it. So like, talk a little bit about that, because I legit, like, I know you're not doing nails anymore. Hashtag things that make me sad.
I'm
but
sorry.
She's doing press-ons. So what is the goal?
So the last 2 years have been weird, both good and bad, I think, for everybody. But for myself, you know, when everything shut down, my clients were like, hold up, what do you mean I can't do my nails? So I saw other people doing press-ons, and so I spoke to my clients. I'm like, I can send you press-ons, and a lot of them were either like, nah, I'll just like walk around like a bald baddie with no nails, and others, you know, took to it. So then I started like an Etsy shop, and it allowed me to make income without having to expose myself. Because then also the agency side, like photo shoots and stuff, that shut down, and that's my main source of income. So it forced me to kind of shift everything, and it was successful. Like, I did really good, and then things reopened, and you know, we went through that thing of like, cases went up, went down, and doing nails, especially the level of work that I do, you're sitting there for a couple hours.
Yeah.
You know, especially if it's super intricate, we're gonna be there 2-3 hours, and I just didn't feel comfortable exposing myself like that. And I really enjoyed just working. Like, I sit in my little office space. I do my orders. Like, literally, when I leave here, I'm running home to work. I have a gazillion orders to do. And I enjoy it, but it's also forced me to rethink my career and where I want to go. Just a couple of months ago, after the Omarion, like I love to call it, surge, I closed off my books for good. Like, I guess I'm retiring, you could say, in that aspect. I am building another aspect, still working in nails, but more in education. And that'll be something that I'll talk about in a couple of months. But I'm working on that. But as far as my art, the way I look at it now, I think I've done things for the sake of money and the sake of just being out there. And now I want to pour into me as the artist. Yesterday, I did a shoot with two of my agency mates, a makeup artist and a wonderful Cuban photographer. And we did this dope art-inspired nail shoot. It was like crazy. Like, oh, it just looks so good. Like, I'm so excited for these things to come out. But given that space to kind of be creative, and it really being about the nails, further sparked this idea of, I want to pour into myself as an artist. Like, I was telling Vanessa, the photographer, yesterday, I published the book in 2015. When I initially approached Penguin Penguin Random House, the publishing company, about it. I wanted to do like a coffee table book with sick, crazy nails. But they're a company, they want to make money. They're like, no, how-to books are the thing. And I did it, but it wasn't, I don't feel like it did as well as it should have because I wasn't fully into it because that wasn't my creative vision. So now I'm like, no, I'm pouring into Amy, the artist. I'm doing what I want. I'm working on the projects I want to, you know? Like, I got approached for a magazine shoot in a couple of weeks, and it's this cool, like, prom Y2K concept. And I was like, oh, I have a chance to do
like that's right up my alley.
Yeah,
I lived through Y2K.
Yeah, like, that could be some, like, really sick nails. But then, you know, I'm telling my agent, who I love, because she definitely fights for me. I was like, I'm not going to do it if I can't get an assistant, because I want to do crazy nails, and it's like, I don't know, 20 talent, like a crazy number. And just really, like, standing strong in who I am creatively. And for 10 years, I've dedicated myself to providing, you know, my clients' ideas, what they want. And now I'm like, no, I want to do what I want. I'm on my Bad Bunny job. Look at me, la gana.
Yes.
So, you know, my future is looking more into really pouring into myself as an artist and doing the projects that I want. And when I do projects with companies like this one that I'm hoping I get, I'll be able to share with you once it's like, you know.
Solidified.
Even doing stuff like that, being more outspoken in what I want to do. Like, this is my style, this is how I do it. And just like putting the work that I want to put out. I've worked for everybody else and I've done what everybody else wants, but now it's like me.
Yay!
Yeah.
I love it.
So I'm excited.
One last question. If you could go back in time and tell your 10-year-old self anything, what would you tell her?
I think I would tell my 10-year-old self not to doubt my creativity. Yes. Because that's something that I've learned, and I'm still learning, to kind of like that little critic in my head. Oh, I was just telling my boyfriend this yesterday. I'm working on a set. It's a gift from one author to another. So it's the author's his artwork from his book.
Yes.
It's a graphic novel. And I did this one scene in the book, and it's like nighttime, it's a boat. There's like 2 kids on a boat, and you see the moon and everything. And I did it, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm good. And the fact that I say that, it shows that I doubt myself before I do something. And then I call it my Sasha Fierce. I black out, I create something, then afterwards I'm like, holy crap, I did that. So telling my 10-year-old self to not doubt, don't listen to that little voice.
Yes.
Because I feel like that hinders me and it sabotages me a lot.
Yeah.
And that's why this year I really want to dedicate into pouring into myself as an artist. And basically telling that little voice que se joda, you know?
Yeah. Like battling the imposter syndrome. Because I feel like we all, as people of color, we go through that a lot. It's like, you know, we get to the spaces and we're just like wondering, like, do I belong here? Am I supposed to be here? Am I good enough? You know, it's all those little negative self-talk. And it's not even something that we do like, I'm shit on myself all the time. No, it's just like, it's learned behavior. Yeah. So like doing the work to unlearn that.
Yeah, and it's tough. It's hard because I think one of the toughest relationships you'll have in your lifetime is the relationship with yourself.
Yes.
Because it is the most abusive one and you don't even notice it.
Oh my God, yes. Like, sometimes I hear like people talking, and this is like a sidebar. There's certain people in my life that I love that I hear them talking about themselves, and I'm like, why are you so mean to yourself? You know, and then the thing is, like, they talk about, like, you grew up with these people, and you hear them talk like that about themselves, and it's like, you know, a lot of the time when you listen to your own inner voice, because you've been around that person a lot, you sound just like that.
Yep.
So it's like, you know, a battle of, like, unlearning that behavior and loving yourself, like, really, really loving yourself and wholeheartedly and believing in yourself. Because, like, if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you? Honestly. Yeah. But with that, comadres, we're going to end the episode. This is being filmed during Women's History Month, and I'm so glad that I brought a badass artist, woman that I love on the show to share with you guys. So, you know the deal. Follow me at Comadreando Pod and follow Ami on
Amy V Nails on all platforms and my website, amyvnails.com.
Yes, and I'm going to put the link for her book, and then when she has that coffee table book out, which we're manifesting that, yes, I will put that in the show notes as well. Remember, if you have any questions, feel free to send me a Comadre-Gram. at Comadreando at escthenetwork.com or slide up into my DMs. If you want to help with the sustainability of Comadreando, please make sure to become a Patreon or send me some gifts for coffee and things like that. And I want to thank you all for spending time with your comadre. And goodbye. Bye.
Hello?
Hello, comadre.
Hey, comadre.
Do you have a minute for comadre time?